The red desert of Cathara 9 stretched endlessly beneath the toxic orange sky. Hana pressed her face against the cracked window of the research vessel, watching dust storms tear across the barren landscape. This planet was supposed to be empty. No life, no water, just rocks and poison air. The ship shook violently as another magnetic storm hit their shields. "Everyone strap in," Captain Deho shouted from the pilot seat. His knuckles were white on the controls. The old veteran had flown through worse, but something about this planet felt wrong. The instruments screamed warnings. Red lights flashed across every panel. Hana grabbed her seat as the ship tilted sideways. Dr. Minji, her mentor, was frantically typing commands into the navigation computer. The older woman's face showed no panic, only focus. That made Hana feel slightly better. If Dr. Minji wasn't scared, maybe they would survive this. "Engine 3 is dead," someone yelled from the back. Hana recognized the voice. It was Soman, the ship's engineer. "Engine 4 is overheating. We're going down." The ship fell from the sky like a stone. Hana's stomach lurched. She closed her eyes and thought about home, about her mother's cooking, about the green trees of Earth she took for granted. Would she ever see them again? The impact threw everyone forward against their restraints. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. Then everything went still. Hana opened her eyes slowly. She was alive. Her body hurt everywhere, but nothing felt broken. Around her, the crew was groaning and checking themselves for injuries. Captain Deho was already on his feet, assessing damage. Blood dripped from a cut above his eye, but he ignored it. "Status report," he barked. Salmon crawled out from under a fallen panel. "Main engines are destroyed. Life support is okay. We have maybe 3 days of power left, then we're breathing recycled air until it runs out." Dr. Minji stood up carefully, helping Hana to her feet. "Communications?" "Dead," Deho said grimly. "The crash fried our long-range transmitter. Nobody knows we're here. This planet is marked forbidden. No rescue teams check forbidden zones." The weight of those words settled over everyone. They were stranded on a dead planet with no way to call for help. Hana felt her chest tighten with fear, but she forced herself to breathe slowly. "Panic wouldn't help. We need to salvage what we can," Dr. Minji said calmly. "If we're smart, we can survive until we fix the transmitter or jury-rig a distress beacon." For the next several hours, everyone worked. They pulled supplies from the wreckage. Food packets, water containers, medical supplies, emergency shelter materials. The ship had landed near the entrance to a massive cave system. The caves would provide shelter from the toxic storms that raged across the surface. As the team set up their temporary camp inside the cave mouth, Hana noticed something strange. Her scanner was picking up unusual readings deeper in the tunnel system. Biological readings. That was impossible. This planet was dead. She showed the scanner to Dr. Minji. "Look at this. Something alive is down there." Dr. Minji frowned at the display. "That can't be right." "Check the scanner. It probably got damaged in the crash." But Hana ran diagnostics twice. The scanner was fine. Something was definitely down there. Something big. Her scientific curiosity burned. Her entire life she had studied alien life forms. She had dreamed of discovering something new. Despite their terrible situation, excitement bubbled up inside her. "I'm going to investigate," Hana said. "Absolutely not," Captain Daiho said sharply. He had overheard them. "We stay together. Unknown planet. Unknown dangers. Basic survival protocol. But Captain, if there's life here, it might be able to help us. Maybe there's water. Maybe there's..." "The answer is no." Hana wanted to argue, but she respected the chain of command. She nodded and went back to helping sort supplies. But she couldn't stop thinking about those readings. What was down there? How could anything survive on this dead world? Night fell. Well, the planet's version of night. The orange sky turned deep red, then almost black. The team ate their rations in silence, exhausted from the crash and the fear. One by one, people fell asleep in their emergency shelters. Hana lay awake. She kept glancing at her scanner. The biological readings were still there. Even stronger now, almost like whatever it was had moved closer. She made a decision. She would just take a quick look. Just peek around the corner. She wouldn't go far. Quietly, she grabbed her scanner and a portable light. She slipped out of her shelter and into the deeper caves. The tunnels were massive, easily 50 feet high. The walls glittered with strange crystals that seemed to pulse with faint light. Beautiful and eerie. She walked for 20 minutes following the scanner's signal. The readings grew stronger with each step. Her heart pounded. What would she find? A plant? A microbe colony? Maybe some kind of fungus. Then she saw the claw marks. They were carved deep into the stone walls. Each mark was as long as her arm. Whatever made these was enormous. Hana's excitement turned to nervousness. Maybe Captain Deho was right. Maybe this was dangerous, but she had come this far. Just a little further. She rounded a corner and stopped breathing. Before her, in a cavern so large she couldn't see the ceiling, lay a creature from nightmares and dreams. A dragon. There was no other word for it. Easily 100 feet long from snout to tail. Scales that shimmered purple and blue even in the dim light. Wings folded against its sides, each wing larger than her entire ship. Massive horns curved back from its head in chains, thick chains made of some strange metal that glowed with energy. They wrapped around the dragon's legs, its body, its neck, binding it to the cave floor. The dragon's eyes were closed. For a moment, Hana thought it was dead. Then its chest moved. A slow, painful breath. She should run. She should scream. She should do anything except stand there frozen. But she couldn't move. The creature was terrifying and magnificent at the same time. The dragon's eye opened. Just one eye, slowly. It was golden with a purple pupil that looked like a galaxy. That eye focused on her. Intelligence blazed in that gaze. Not animal intelligence, something far greater. Then a voice spoke inside her head. Not words. Pure meaning that her brain translated into words. Water. Please. Centuries. So thirsty. Hana gasped. The dragon was telepathic. And it was asking for help. No, not asking, begging. She could feel the desperation in that mental voice. The suffering. Her hand moved to her water bottle on her belt. She had 2 bottles. Emergency rations. She was supposed to make them last. The dragon's eye followed her movement. Hope flickered in that alien gaze. Hope mixed with despair, as if it had been disappointed too many times to truly believe. Hana took a step forward. Then another. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but something stronger pulled her forward. This creature was suffering. It needed help. And she was human. Humans helped. That's what made them different. She unscrewed her water bottle and walked toward the dragon's massive head, her hands trembling but her heart certain. Hana stood before the dragon's enormous head, her water bottle feeling impossibly small in her hand. The creature's eye watched her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. She could feel its consciousness touching the edges of her mind, gentle but desperate. Please. The voice came again in her thoughts. Just a drop. Anything. She stepped closer. The dragon's scales were each the size of dinner plates, reflecting light in colors that didn't seem to exist naturally. Purple melted into blue, then into silver, then back again. Up close she could see scars beneath those scales. Hundreds of them. Thousands. This creature had suffered for a very long time. Hana reached up. Even the dragon's lowered head was far above her. She stood on her toes and poured a small amount of water onto its snout, near its closed mouth. The effect was immediate and shocking. The scales where the water touched began to glow brightly. The dragon's whole body shuddered. Its eye widened. A sound came from deep in its chest, something between a gasp and a sob. The dragon's mouth opened, slightly, and a long tongue, surprisingly delicate, caught the few drops running down its scales. The moment the water entered its mouth, more scales lit up. The purple and blue became vibrant, almost blinding. The creature's eye filled with something Hana recognized. Relief. Pure, overwhelming relief. Thank you. The voice in her mind was clearer now, stronger. Thank you, kind stranger, you cannot know. You cannot know what this means. Hana swallowed hard. How long since you last drank? Centuries. 847 of your years, by my count. The number was impossible to comprehend. Hana had lived 19 years. This creature had been suffering for more than 800. How are you alive? My kind does not die easily. The Void Keepers made sure of that. They wanted us to suffer, to understand our punishment. Death would have been mercy. Who are the Void Keepers? Who are you? The dragon's eye closed for a moment, and Hana felt a wave of sadness wash over her through their mental connection. When it spoke again, images came with the words. She saw a beautiful planet covered in floating cities. She saw dragons of many colors soaring between crystal towers. She saw art and music and joy. I am Reuven, last of the Scarith. We ruled this star system once. Not with cruelty, but with knowledge. We were scholars, artists, poets. We studied the universe and sang songs about its beauty. The images shifted, becoming darker. Geometric shapes appeared in the sky, obsidian constructs that hurt to look at. Then the Void Keepers came. They were an ancient artificial intelligence, created by a species that died long before my ancestors were born. The Void Keepers believe in absolute order. They eliminate anything they consider chaotic or dangerous. But you said your people were peaceful. We were. But we refused to serve them. We refused to give up our free will, our ability to choose our own path. That was unacceptable to the Void Keepers. They imprisoned every Scarith they could find. They created a curse specifically for us. Reuven's mental voice became bitter. We cannot drink any water unless it is freely given by a sentient being who expects nothing in return. True compassion given without hope of reward. For centuries I have been here, alone. This planet was made forbidden. No one comes here. No one offers water to a monster in chains. You're not a monster, Hana said quietly. You don't know that. You just met me. I know suffering when I see it. Monsters don't suffer like you do. Footsteps echoed from the tunnel behind her. Hana turned to see Ji-hoon, one of the crew members, running toward them with his weapon drawn. He was young, like her, maybe 22, and his eyes went wide when he saw Reuven. Hana, get away from that thing, Ji-hoon shouted. Wait, it's okay, it's controlling your mind, step back. Ji-hoon aimed his weapon at Reuven. The dragon didn't move, didn't even seem threatened. Its eye just looked at Ji-hoon with exhausted patience, as if it had seen this reaction 1,000 times before. He's not controlling me, Hana said firmly, stepping between Ji-hoon and Reuven. His name is Reuven. He's been prisoner here for over 800 years. He's dying of thirst. That's what it wants you to think. These scans showed a massive life form. It could be dangerous. If I wanted to harm you, I would have done so already. Reuven's voice spoke in both their minds now. Ji-hoon jerked back in surprise, his weapon shaking. I am too weak to break these chains. Even if I were free, I have no desire to hurt you. I have seen enough violence in my long life. Ji-hoon looked between Hana and the dragon, confusion and fear warring on his face. You can talk? Telepathy, Hana explained. Ji-hoon, please, look at him. Really look. Those chains aren't ordinary. See how they glow? This is some kind of prison. Slowly, Ji-hoon lowered his weapon. He studied the chains, the scars on Reuven's scales, the exhaustion in that massive eye. His expression shifted from fear to uncertainty, then to something like pity. What happened to you? Ji-hoon asked. Reuven shared his story again, more briefly this time. As they listened, both young humans felt the weight of his imprisonment. 800 years alone in the dark. 800 years of unbearable thirst. 800 years hoping someone would come. Why didn't you tell someone about this curse? Ji-hoon asked. Surely if people knew, who would believe a dragon in chains? Who would trust that I speak truth? Most species that encounter me assume I am dangerous. They leave, or they attack. You are the first in centuries to offer help. Reuven's eye focused on Hana. Your compassion may have saved my life. That water was not enough to quench my thirst, but it was enough to give me hope that I might survive a little longer. Hana looked at her remaining water bottles. She had so little. The crew needed to ration carefully. But looking at Reuven's suffering, she couldn't imagine not sharing. Before she could make a decision, more footsteps echoed. This time it was Captain Daiho, Dr. O, Minji, and Somin. They all stopped short when they saw Reuven, weapons instantly drawn. Nobody move, Daiho commanded. Captain, please listen, Hana said quickly. This is Reuven. He needs our help. Hana, step away from the creature. That's an order. No. The word hung in the air. Hana had never disobeyed a direct order before. But she thought about Ryuven's suffering. She thought about 800 years of hoping for kindness. She thought about what it meant to be human. "I'm not leaving him," she said firmly. "If being human means anything, it means we help those who are suffering, even if they're different from us, especially if they're different from us." Dr. Minji slowly lowered her weapon. She stepped forward, examining Ryuven with a scientist's eye. "These chains are ancient technology. I've never seen anything like it." She looked at the dragon. "Can you prove you mean us no harm?" "I can offer only my word," Ryuven replied in all their minds. "I understand your fear. I would fear me too, were our positions reversed. But I have been imprisoned long enough. I have no desire to see anyone else suffer. If you help me, I will help you in return. I know this planet. I know its secrets. I can guide you to resources that might help you repair your ship." Captain Deho's jaw clenched. Hana could see him calculating odds, weighing risks. Finally, he lowered his weapon but didn't holster it. "We'll discuss this as a crew, but nobody does anything until we vote." Hana looked at Ryuven's eye and saw gratitude mixed with fear. The dragon had hope now, but hope was fragile. She would fight to make sure that hope wasn't crushed. The crew gathered in the main cave chamber, far enough from Ryuven that they could speak freely, but close enough that the dragon could probably still hear them. Hana sat on a rock, her hands clasped tight in her lap. She had never felt so nervous. Captain Deho stood in the center like a judge. "We need to make a decision. Do we help this creature? Or do we focus on our own survival?" "It's too dangerous," said Young-ho, the security officer. He was a tall man with suspicious eyes. "We don't know anything about it. For all we know, it's manipulating us, making us feel sorry for it." "His name is Ryuven," Hana said sharply. "And he's not an it. He's a person who's been suffering for centuries. A person who could kill us all if those chains break." Young-ho shot back. Somin raised her hand. She was the youngest of the senior crew, only 25, and she had kind eyes. "I examined those chains while you were arguing. They're powered by some kind of underground network. Generators, maybe. Old technology, but still functional. If we wanted to free him, we'd need to shut down all the generators." "And if we shut them down?" Dr. Minji asked. "Then the chains should release, but..." Somin hesitated. "Something that's sophisticated probably has alarms. Whoever built this prison would know if it failed." "The Void Keepers," Hana said. "Ryuven told us about them. They're the ones who imprisoned his entire species." Captain Deho rubbed his face tiredly. "So if we free him, we might bring down an ancient AI army on our heads. Perfect." "We don't have to free him," Ji-hoon said quietly. Everyone looked at him. He had been silent until now, but we could give him water. Keep him alive while we figure out how to fix our ship. That's just basic decency, right? We'd do that for anyone. "He's not anyone," Young-ho argued. "He's a massive alien predator." "He's been nothing but honest with us," Ji-hoon countered. "He told us the risks. He warned us about the Void Keepers. Does that sound like someone trying to manipulate us?" The group fell into heated debate. Hana listened to them argue back and forth, her frustration growing. They were talking about Ryuven like he was a problem to solve, not a living being in pain. Finally, she stood up. "Can I say something?" Everyone quieted down. Captain Deho nodded. "I've been studying alien life my whole adult life," Hana began. "I wanted to understand species different from humans. I wanted to learn what makes life special across the universe. And you know what I learned in school? Humans are not the strongest species. We're not the smartest. We're not the fastest or the toughest. But we survived. We thrived. We built a civilization that spans star systems. You know why?" She looked around at each face. "Because we help each other. Because when we see someone suffering, we don't calculate the risks first. We act. We show compassion. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us different. If we see Ryuven suffering and we just walk away because it's safer, then what are we? What's the point of being human if we only help people when it's convenient?" Silence filled the cave. Even Young-ho looked uncomfortable. Dr. Minji stood up slowly. "Hana is right. I vote we help him. At minimum, we share our water. If we can safely free him, we should try." "I'm in," Somin said immediately. "Me too," Ji-hoon added. Young-ho shook his head but didn't argue further. "I think this is stupid, but I won't stop you. I just want my objection noted." All eyes turned to Captain Deho. He was the final vote and the most important. His weathered face was impossible to read. He stared at the ground for a long moment. When I was young, he said slowly, I crashed on an ice planet. My ship was destroyed. I was dying. Then this alien found me, looked like a giant spider made of crystal, scared me half to death, but it dragged me to shelter. Kept me warm. Shared its food even though I must have looked like a monster to it. He looked up. I lived because that alien chose compassion over fear. I guess I owe it to pay that forward. He stood straight. We help Reuven, but we do it smart. Summon, you map those generators. Find out exactly what we're dealing with. Minji, you study the chains, see if there's a safe way to release them. Everyone else, we continue working on the ship. We might need to leave fast if things go wrong. Relief flooded through Hana. She wanted to hug the captain but settled for a grateful nod. Over the next few days, Hana spent most of her time with Reuven. She brought him water regularly, rationing her own supply carefully. Each time he drank, his strength seemed to return a little more. His scales grew brighter. His voice in her mind became clearer. They talked for hours. Reuven shared memories of his world, and Hana told him about Earth. He was fascinated by human culture, by their art and music and stories. He shared Scarith poetry, transmitting verses directly into her mind in their original language. The meaning came through even though she couldn't understand the words. They were poems about stars and time and the sadness of watching civilizations rise and fall. Your people sound beautiful, Hana said one evening as they sat together. We were flawed, like all beings, but we tried to do good. We tried to leave the universe better than we found it. Reuven's eye dimmed. I often wonder if I am truly the last. The Void Keepers imprisoned so many. Are they all still trapped? Have any escaped? Or am I alone, the final remnant of a dead species? If we free you, we can look for others, Hana suggested. That's a kind dream. But freedom seems impossible now. Why? We're going to shut down the generators. And then the Void Keepers will come. They always come. Hana leaned against his massive forearm. The scales were surprisingly warm. Then we'll face them together. Meanwhile, Soman and Dr. Minji worked tirelessly on understanding the prison system. They discovered a network of 12 generators buried deep beneath the cave system. Each generator was protected by automated defenses and environmental hazards. It would be dangerous. On the 5th day, Soman presented her findings to the group. I've mapped everything. We can do this, but it won't be easy. We'll need to split into teams and hit multiple generators simultaneously. If we try to do them one by one, the system will lock down. How long do we have once we start? Captain Deho asked. Maybe 2 hours before the system alerts whoever's listening, and based on these energy readings, someone is definitely listening. The Void Keepers monitor all their prisons, Reuven confirmed. His voice reached everyone now. They had grown accustomed to his telepathy. If you do this, they will send drones. 3, perhaps 4. Each one is powerful enough to destroy your ship. Can you fight them? Young-Ho asked. Once you're free? I am weak from centuries of imprisonment. But yes, I will fight. I will not let you come to harm because of me. That night, Hana sat alone with Reuven while the others slept. She was nervous about what tomorrow would bring. They had decided to attempt the rescue at dawn. Are you afraid? Reuven asked gently. Yes, Hana admitted. But I'd be more afraid of leaving you here. I'd be afraid of what it would say about us as humans if we just walked away. You have already given me more than you know. Hope, companionship, the memory of kindness. If tomorrow goes wrong, I want you to know that you changed everything for me. You reminded me why life is worth living. Hana felt tears in her eyes. We're going to save you. I promise. Do not make promises you cannot keep, young one. I'm human. Making impossible promises is what we do best. Reuven's deep laugh rumbled through the cave, and despite her fear, Hana smiled. Dawn came too quickly. Hana barely slept. She kept thinking about all the things that could go wrong. The generators might not shut down. The Void Keepers might arrive early. Someone might get hurt. But when she looked at Reuven's chains glowing in the darkness, she knew they had to try. The crew gathered for a final briefing. Captain Deho had drawn a map of the generator locations on a portable screen. 12 red dots spread across the underground network like a spider's web. Team 1, that's me, Young-Ho, and Ji-Hoon. We'll take the northern generators, numbers 1 through 4. Team 2 is Dr. Minji and Soman. You've got the Western generators 5 through 8. Team 3 is Hana and Kyung. He nodded at Kyung, a quiet engineer who rarely spoke. You two get the Southern generators 9 through 12. What about the ship? Soman asked. Automated defenses are online. If anything approaches, we'll know. But our priority is freeing Reuven before the Void Keepers arrive. Daeho looked at each person. Everyone understand? We go in fast, shut down the generators using the codes Reuven provided, and get out. No heroics. No taking unnecessary risks. We stick to the plan, everyone nodded. Hana checked her equipment one more time. Cutting tools, scanner, emergency medical kit, and water. Always water. She had learned that water could be the most important thing in the universe. They said goodbye to Reuven before departing. The dragon was trying to appear confident, but Hana could feel his worry through their mental connection. Be safe, small friend, he said to her. The generators are protected by old security systems. They will try to stop you. We'll be fine, Hana assured him, hoping she sounded braver than she felt. If anything happens to you because of me, I will never forgive myself. Then we'll just have to make sure nothing happens. The teams split up, each heading toward their designated generators. Hana and Kyung moved through narrow tunnels that twisted deeper underground. Their lights cut through the darkness, revealing ancient walls covered in strange symbols. These markings, Kyung said quietly. He rarely spoke, but when he did, it was usually important. They're warnings. Turn back. Death waits below. Abandon hope. Cheerful, Hana muttered. They reached the first generator 30 minutes later. It was a massive cylindrical structure built into the cave wall, humming with energy. Panels covered in alien text surrounded it. Hana pulled out her scanner and began entering the shutdown codes Reuven had memorized over centuries of observation. The generator resisted at first. Error messages flashed across the panel in a language she didn't understand. But she kept trying, adjusting the codes, working through each step carefully. Got it, she said as the generator's hum began to decrease. The lights dimmed. One down. They moved to the second generator. This one was deeper, requiring them to climb down a shaft using rope. Hana went first, her hands sweating inside her gloves. The shaft seemed endless. When she finally reached the bottom, she was in a chamber filled with steam that burned her lungs. Environmental hazard, Kyung called down. We need to be fast. Hana worked through the burning steam, her eyes watering. Her fingers fumbled on the controls. The shutdown code wasn't working. She tried again. Still nothing. Try the override sequence, Kyung suggested. Hana entered the longer code Reuven had given them for emergencies. The generator sparked, and for a terrifying moment she thought she had broken it. Then it powered down with a grinding sound. 2 down. On the third generator, they triggered a defense system. Automated turrets dropped from the ceiling, targeting them with red lasers. Hana and Kyung dove behind rocks as energy blasts tore through the air where they had been standing. This wasn't in the plan, Hana shouted over the noise. Destroy the power nodes. Kyung pointed at glowing spots on the walls. They worked together, using their tools to short out the nodes while dodging turret fire. It was terrifying and chaotic. Hana's heart pounded so hard she thought it might explode. But finally, the last node fell, and the turrets went silent. They shut down the third generator. 3 down. Over the communication system, they heard the other teams reporting similar progress. Captain Daeho's team had finished all 4 northern generators. Dr. Minji's team was on their final one. Everything was going according to plan. That's when the alarm started. A piercing sound echoed through every tunnel. Red emergency lights flashed. The cave system itself seemed to wake up, angry at the intrusion. What's happening? Hana demanded into her communicator. The system detected us early. Salmon's voice crackled with static. The Void Keepers are coming. We're reading 3 ships entering the atmosphere. How long do we have? Captain Daeho asked. 18 minutes, maybe less. Everyone finish your generators now. We're out of time. Hana and Kyung ran to the 4th generator. No time for caution now. They worked frantically, entering codes as fast as their fingers could move. The generator resisted, throwing up security barriers. Hana felt tears of frustration building. They were so close. Come on, she whispered. Finally, the generator powered down. All 4 of theirs were complete. Through the communicator, they heard Dr. Minji confirm her last generator was down too. 12 generators total. 12 down. The chains should release in 3, 2, 1. Somin counted down. A massive sound echoed through the entire cave system. like thunder and breaking glass combined. The ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The chains are breaking. Reuven's voice filled everyone's mind, filled with wonder and disbelief. I can feel them releasing. After so long, His voice cut off. A new sound replaced it, something mechanical and cold descending from above. The Void Keepers had arrived. Everyone get back to the main chamber, Captain Deho ordered. Protect Reuven while he breaks free. Hana and Kyung ran through the tunnels. Behind them, they could hear the automated defenses activating throughout the cave system. The prison didn't want to let its prisoner go. But Hana pushed herself harder, running faster than she ever had before. They burst into the main chamber and stopped in awe. Reuven was standing. For the first time in 800 years, the dragon stood on his own 4 legs. The chains lay broken around him, still glowing but powerless. His wings spread wide, nearly touching the cave walls. He was magnificent. But hovering above him were 3 geometric shapes of solid black. The Void Keeper drones. They looked like someone had folded reality into sharp angles that hurt to look at. Each one was the size of a small ship, and they were charging their weapons. So it seems you have freed the prisoner. A mechanical voice spoke from the drones. It had no emotion, no inflection, just cold statement of fact. This is unacceptable. The Scarith was deemed too dangerous to exist free. All parties involved in this illegal action will be terminated. We did what was right, Hana shouted at them. You kept him prisoner for 800 years. That's cruel. Cruelty is an emotional concept. We do not experience emotion. We maintain order. You have created chaos. Chaos must be eliminated. The drone's weapons glowed brighter. Reuven moved faster than Hana thought possible for something so large. He placed his massive body between the humans and the Void Keepers. If you want them. Reuven's voice was no longer weak or tired. It was powerful, ancient, filled with barely contained rage. You will have to go through me, and I have waited 800 years to pay back what you did to my people. His scales erupted with brilliant light. Purple and blue flames danced along his body. Energy crackled in the air. The battle for freedom had begun. Hana grabbed her weapon, knowing it was probably useless against the Void Keepers but refusing to stand by helplessly. Around her, the crew took up defensive positions. Above them, Reuven roared a challenge that shook the mountains, and the drones opened fire. The first energy blast from the Void Keeper drones tore through the air where Reuven's head had been a moment before. The dragon twisted his massive body with surprising grace, his wings creating gusts that knocked the crew off their feet. He opened his mouth and breathed out something that looked like purple fire mixed with starlight. The beam struck one of the drones dead center. The geometric shape flickered, its perfect angles disrupting for just a moment. But it recovered quickly, recalculating and adjusting its position. Impressive, the mechanical voice stated. You retain combat capability despite prolonged imprisonment. However, you are 3 against 1 and significantly weakened. Surrender is advised. I spent 8 centuries in chains, Reuven snarled. I will never surrender again. He lunged at the nearest drone, his claws raking across its surface. The black material sparked where he struck. The drone retaliated with a focused energy beam that caught Reuven's shoulder. He roared in pain but didn't back down. The crew wasn't helpless. Captain Deho coordinated their fire, targeting the drones with everything they had. Their weapons were small compared to the massive battle above, but every little bit helped. Soman had rigged up an electromagnetic pulse device that she threw at one of the drones. It detonated with a flash of light and the drone shuddered, temporarily disrupted. Keep hitting them with those, Deho shouted. Soman, how many more do you have? 3, but they take time to recharge. Hana fired her weapon at the nearest drone, knowing it was barely scratching its surface. But she couldn't just stand there. She had to do something. Beside her, Ji-hoon was doing the same thing, his face set in determination. The second drone targeted the crew directly. Its weapon charged with terrifying speed. Hana saw the energy building and knew they couldn't dodge it in time. Reuven saw it too. He threw himself between them and the blast, taking the hit across his back. His scales cracked. Blood that glowed like liquid silver poured from the wound. He staggered but stayed standing. Reuven, Hana screamed. I'm fine. His voice came through gritted teeth. Stay behind me, but he wasn't fine. Hana could see him struggling. 800 years of imprisonment had left him weak. He was fighting with everything he had, but the drones were relentless and undamaged. For every hit Reuven landed, they returned 2. Above them, the cave ceiling cracked. Rock and debris began to fall. The battle was tearing the mountain apart. "We need to get out of here," Dr. Minji shouted. "The whole structure is collapsing." "Not without Ryuvan." Hana refused to leave. "I'll hold them here," Ryuvan said. "You escape. Use your ship. Please, you've done enough for me." "Absolutely not." Hana's voice was fierce. "We didn't free you just to watch you die." She looked around desperately. There had to be something they could do. Some way to turn the tide. Her eyes landed on the broken chain still glowing with residual energy. An idea sparked in her mind. Crazy, impossible, but maybe their only chance. "Ryuvan, can you open a dimensional rift? Like your people used to do?" There was a pause. Even in the middle of battle, she felt his surprise. "Yes, but it requires immense energy. Energy I don't have." "What if we gave it to you? Our ship has a power core. What if we channeled it through you? That could kill you." "The amount of energy needed. Can you do it or not?" Another blast hit Ryuvan's side. He was slowing down. They were running out of time. "Yes," he finally answered. "Yes, I could do it. But someone would need to interface directly with my consciousness to guide the energy properly. The neural feedback could burn out your mind. Then I'll do it." Hana was already running toward him. "Hana, wait!" Captain Deho tried to stop her, but she was too fast. She reached Ryuvan's foreleg and pressed her hand against his scales. "Tell me what to do. You're sure about this? We're wasting time. How do we connect?" Ryuvan's eye met hers and she saw fear mixed with hope. "Open your mind. Let me in completely." Hana closed her eyes and dropped all her mental barriers. She felt Ryuvan's consciousness flood into hers. It was overwhelming. Centuries of memories, pain, joy, loss, everything he was poured into her mind. She gasped, nearly breaking the connection from the intensity. "Stay with me." Ryuvan's voice was gentle in her thoughts. "I've got you. Soman." Hana shouted aloud while maintaining the mental connection. "Rig the ship's power core to overload. Route all energy through my position." "That's insane." Soman yelled back, but she was already running toward the ship. Captain Deho understood what Hana was attempting. He had seen desperate plans before. "Everyone, fall back to the ship." "Cover Hana!" The crew fought their way toward the cave exit, drawing the drone's attention. Young-Ho threw everything he had at the Void Keepers, buying precious seconds. Dr. Minji and Ji-hoon grabbed Kyung, who had been injured by falling debris, and carried him toward safety. Ryuvan stood over Hana, protecting her while she maintained their connection. She could feel the power core warming up through their link. Energy began to flow from the ship through the ground and into her body. It burned. Holy stars, it burned. The energy coursed through every nerve like liquid fire. Hana screamed, but held on. She channeled it through herself and into Ryuvan. She felt his power awakening, the ancient strength of the Scarith rising after centuries of dormancy. "Almost there," Ryuvan whispered. "Just a little more." The drones recognized the threat. All three turned their weapons toward Hana and Ryuvan. Energy beams converged on their position. Captain Deho did something Hana never expected. He piloted the ship directly into the path of the beams, using the hull as a shield. The blasts tore into the ship, ripping through metal and systems. Alarms screamed. Fires erupted. "Deho, no!" Dr. Minji's voice was anguished. "Get everyone through the rift," he shouted back through the communication system. "I'm buying you time." The ship crashed into one of the drones. Pilot and machine locked together as they fell. The explosion lit up the entire cavern. The drone didn't survive. Neither did the ship. Hana felt tears streaming down her face even as she maintained the energy flow. "Now," Ryuvan roared, reality tore open. A rift of pure light appeared beside them, showing glimpses of safe human space beyond. The energy requirement was immense, draining the power core completely. Hana felt like she was being torn apart from the inside. "Everyone through," Dr. Minji commanded, her voice breaking with grief over Daiho's sacrifice. The crew rushed through the rift. Soman and Ji-hoon grabbed Hana, breaking her connection with Ryuvan and carrying her toward the portal. She was too drained to walk. "Ryuvan, come on!" Ji-hoon yelled. The dragon was enormous. The rift wasn't big enough for him. He tried to squeeze through, but his body was too large. The remaining two drones were closing in, weapons charging for killing blows. "Go without me," Ryuvan said, his voice sad but accepting. "You tried. That's enough." "No," Hana croaked, barely conscious. "You're coming with us." She pulled her last water bottle from her belt with trembling hands. She crawled back toward Ryuvan, ignoring the pain in her body. She uncapped the bottle and poured it over his snout. "This water I give freely," she said, tears mixing with the water. "Not because I expect anything. Not because you're useful to us, but because you deserve to live. Because compassion is what makes us human. Because you're my friend." The water touched Ryuven's scales. Something ancient and powerful responded. The curse placed by the Void Keepers centuries ago, the curse that could only be broken by true compassion given without expectation, shattered. Ryuven's body blazed with light. His form shimmered and began to change. He was adapting, compressing, his Scarith biology responding to the act of genuine love. He shrank down from 100 feet to 20, then 10, then human-sized. His dragon shape remained but smaller, more compact. "Impossible." The Void Keeper's mechanical voice finally showed something like emotion. "The curse should be unbreakable." "You forgot something," Ryuven said as he scooped up Hana in his now smaller arms and leaped through the rift. Compassion is the most powerful force in the universe. The rift closed behind them just as the drone's weapons fired. The blasts hit empty space. They emerged in human space near a patrol station. The crew collapsed on the deck of the station's landing bay, exhausted and traumatized. Medical teams rushed to help them. Hana looked up at Ryuven from where she lay. He was still dragon-shaped, but now only slightly larger than a human. His scales still shimmered purple and blue. His eyes still held that galactic depth. "You changed," she whispered. "The curse is broken. My body is my own again. I can take whatever form I wish now." He gently touched her forehead with a claw. "You saved me, Hana, not just my life, my soul. You reminded me what kindness means." "Captain Deho saved us," Hana said, grief flooding through her. "He did, and his sacrifice will not be forgotten. We will honor his memory." 3 months passed. The crew had been debriefed, investigated, and eventually cleared. The authorities didn't quite know what to make of their story, but the evidence was undeniable. News of Ryuven's freedom spread through human space and beyond. More importantly, it sparked a movement. Other imprisoned Scarith began appearing in intelligence reports across the galaxy. Some were still chained like Ryuven had been. Others had died in captivity, but a few had survived waiting for rescue. Hana stood on the bridge of a new ship called the Liberator,